What is the value of this expression? Well, regardless, we are dividing here. We are dividing. Therefore, we know we have two negatives here. We know that the answer is going to be positive by rule. Now, we have a kind of an odd problem here because we have to take several steps. Number one, we have to change this. In order to multiply it, we have to change that into an improper fraction. In other words, we have to have one number over another one. Well, the negative 7 over 16 is okay. We can go with that. But we have to change this into an improper fraction. We multiply the 8 times the 2, which is 16, and then we add that 3, giving us negative 19 over, and we keep that 8 right here and put that on bottom. Okay? Now, we can't just go ahead and multiply out because we have to remember we're dividing here. We have to multiply by the reciprocal. We have to keep that number, we have to change that to multiplication, and we have to flip this guy. Therefore, our new problem is going to be negative 7 over 16 times 8 over 19. And that's going to be negative. Then we simply multiply it out. That's going to be 56 over, and I have to multiply this out myself, so that's okay. 6 times 9 is 54. Carry the 5. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 5 is 11. Bring down the 0. This becomes 19. 4, 0, 1, 304. And it looks like both of these numbers, I think, are divisible by 8. Okay, this will go in here. So we can reduce this down to 7 over, I think 8 will go into 304. Let's do this, what is that, 3 times? That's going to be 24. 6, carry the 4. Yeah, that'll go in there 38 times. The answer is going to be 7 over 38 positive. Just remember that it's positive. Now I want to show you a shortcut you can do on one of these. I'm going to have to bring it up to the top of my page. If you have a problem like 7 over 16 times 8 over 19, you can do something called cross-cancelization. And you have to go this way and this way. You can't go across the top like so, but you have to go like this. And what I mean by that is if you can find numbers in common here, you can go ahead and reduce this while they're here. But you have to find numbers in common here and find numbers in common here. Well, 7 and 19, there's nothing you can do with that, so you have to leave that the same. But 8 will go into both 8 and 16, so you can reduce that and make that 7 over, how many times will 8 go into 16? It'll go in there twice. 8 will go into 8 once. 19. Then you can multiply straight out and have 7 over 38. And voila, the answer is exactly the same. And that will save yourself, or you can save yourself a ton of time there. Now let's take a look at a word problem. Julie earns $8.76 an hour at her job. Last week she worked 32.5 hours, 32.5 hours. How much money did Julie earn last week? Well, just the same as if you're, one of these days you guys are going to have a job when you're in high school or you're in college, and you know what you make, and you're going to try to figure out about what your paycheck's going to be based on the number of hours you worked. So in order to do this problem, Julie earns $8.76 an hour. She worked 32.5 hours. You need to multiply that out to see what your paycheck's going to be. And don't let these decimals intimidate you. These are both positive numbers, so the answer is going to be positive. We multiply 876 by 32.5. And it doesn't matter where you line up the decimals when you're multiplying. It does not matter. That only matters with addition or subtraction. Then once we get the answer, we're going to count over 1, 2, 3 decimal places because we have 3 places to the right of the decimal. But let's go ahead and multiply this guy out. This is 30. carry the 3. That's 35 plus 3 is 38. Carry the 3 again. 5 times 8 is 40. Makes that 43. Bring down your 0. 2 times 6 is 12. 1. 2 times 7 is 14 plus 15. Carry the 1. 8 times 2 is 16 plus 1 is 17. Sorry about that. Bring your 2 zeros down. 3 times 6 is 18. Carry the 1. 3 times 7 is 21 plus 1 is 22. Carry the 2. 3 times 8 is 24 plus 2 is 26. Add all these guys up. That's 0. That's 0. Carry the 1. 8 plus 5 is 13. Plus 3 is 16. Plus 1 is 17. Carry the 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. Plus 7 is 12. Plus 2 is 14. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Plus 6 is 8. And then you've got a 2 all by itself. Now I've got 284,700. Well, I'm not done. I've got to count over my decimal places. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. The answer is $284.70. Well, now we're going to be multiplying fractions. Each lap around Spring Park is 2 miles, or 2 miles and 3/8, or 2 3/8 miles. Terrence walked 2.5 laps. How many miles did Terrence walk? So in other words, every revolution around this lap, 2.38 miles. He walks around it again, another 2.38 miles. Then he decides to walk about a half a lap. Okay? So what we have to do is multiply this times this. Well, we can either convert that to a decimal. That's going to take a lot of work. 2 and 1 over 2 times 2 and 3 over 8. Well, the best thing for us to do is convert both of these into an improper fraction, multiply it out, and then convert it back to a mixed number, because these are 2 mixed numbers right here. These are both positive numbers, so our answer is going to be what? It's going to be positive. Same signs, answer is positive. Well, let's go ahead and convert these to an improper fraction. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. We're going to keep the 2 down here. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 3 is 19. Keep the 8, and then we just multiply out. Unfortunately, there is nothing in common here. We can't reduce this any further, so we have to multiply it out. 19 times 5 is 95. Over 16. Now, unfortunately for us, that number does not reduce. But this is not the correct answer. We have to convert that back into a mixed number. And this is how we do that. Remember, top dog goes into the house. All this means is 95 divided by 16. So we've got 95 inside the house, 16 here. 16 will go into 95 4 times without going over. 4 times 16 is 4. Oops. 2. Looks like it'll go in there a little bit more. I'm sorry. We used to call these a hole in the paper problems when I was a kid because we had to erase so much. Here's a good reason why. This looks like this will go in there 5 times, I'm sorry, without going over. 5 times 6 is 30. Carry your 3, makes that at 8. And our remainder is 15. So we have 5 and 15/16 miles. That is how far Terrence walked, because he walked 2.5 laps. More to come.